Hello everyone and Happy New Year. Welcome to the Power BI Desktop January 2017 update. You may have noticed it's a little bit earlier than we typically update in the month, but with the new year we decided to start a new release cadence. So now we're going to start updating earlier in the month than we've previously done in the past. So hopefully you like this new release cycle and are excited to get your hands on the new desktop update earlier than you've ever have. So with that, let's get started. The first feature we have for reporting view is an update to the conditional formatting we have for table and matrix. We've added a new feature to the dialog that lets you format your blanks as well as all the other values in your tables. So let me show you that. So I'm going to start by creating a matrix with manufacturer on the rows and category on the columns. And then I'll go ahead and add sales amount as well. As you notice, there's a lot of blanks in this table, and I really don't want those to be formatted the same way that all the values are going to be formatted when I conditionally format this. So when I go into the conditional formatting UI, I can see there's this new option here that says format blank values. And I can pick, by default, we'll format it as if it's a 0 value, but I can also pick to format it as a specific color, and I can pick any color I want with the color picking UI, or as I want, I can choose to not format it at all. And then of course I can go ahead and do my normal conditional formatting. I want to go red, yellow, green. I want to hit OK. You can see they applied the conditional formatting to all of the number values, but the blanks have no formatting at all. And since it's not formatted, of course, if I add a table style to this, for example, alternating rows, the background colors flow through. So this is really good if there's a lot of blank values in my chart and I don't want those to stand out compared to the actual values. This is good for that. And if for some reason, if a null value doesn't make sense in your data and that's like dirty data or something like that, you can also use this as a good way to find those blank values. You can make them really bold in a really long matrix and they'll be able to stand out, and you can go in there and you can adjust that. We've also added some new aggregation types for string and date time columns. This is a really powerful feature that lets you start using your strings and dates in new ways in your charts. So let me show you a few examples. First, I'm going to create a table. And in this table, I'm going to show my categories, my subcategories, country, and the likelihood to purchase again. Now I can see for each of my subcategories and countries what the likelihood to purchase again is. But I'm also curious about when was the actual time that the subcategory was last purchased. So what I can do is I can actually now add order date to this chart. And by default, you'll have the current experience where it wouldn't summarize that. It would just list for every single row. It would make a row for every single order. But now I can go in and I can actually see there's two new aggregation types, earliest and latest. So when I pick latest, it will actually, for each subcategory and country code, I can see the last time that has been ordered. So this is really good if you have a product table and you want to know for every single product what was the last time an order has been placed for that product in similar instances like that. I also have new aggregation types, as I mentioned, for strings. So, for example, for that, I'm going to create a bar chart. And I'm going to put the subcategory on the axis. And I'm going to show sales amount. just adjust the chart a little bit to make it easier to see. And for every chart we have this tooltip bucket that lets you add some extra information. And we've had this for a while now, and I can do something like I can add for every bar. I also want to see the average net satisfaction. And as I mentioned, we had this for a while now, but it's only ever worked for number values. You could only have ever added a measure to this. But sometimes I want to show extra information, like for example for each subcategory. Maybe I also want a user who's looking at this to be able to see what was the top level category for each of those subcategories as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add category to the tooltip bucket. And by default it picked one of the new aggregation types we have. So you can either say for each category I want to see the first one alphabetically in the list or the last one alphabetically. In my case there's always only one category per subcategory, so it doesn't really matter which one I picked. But if there is multiple options within your category, you could choose to pick, do you want to show the first or the last? And now whenever I hover over the chart, I can actually see that text value in the tooltip. And so this makes the tooltip bucket a whole lot more useful because now you can start showing strings in there as well as numerical values. The next report view feature is another table update. We're adding word wrap for headers and tables. A lot of people have been asking for word wrap, and so this is the first release in that area. When I have a table selected, I can go to the formatting pane, and under column headers, I can choose the option for word wrap, and I can go ahead and turn that on. And now as I start resizing columns, the headers will start to word wrap. And this is really good if you have a long header name, but the column is really short, like for country codes, or if you have a small numerical value, as is the case with my purchase again. And I can just drag those and make them smaller, and it saves a lot of room on my table. So now I can, for example, shrink this table, and I'm able to expand this chart, it's not quite that much, to show the vast majority of the values on that chart. So it's a really good space-saving feature, and this is just like I said, the first release. You'll be able to see some more improvements of this shortly. The last report view feature that we have is the GA of phone optimized reports. So we've had phone optimized reports for a couple of releases now, but it's been under the preview feature, and so we've finally opened that up for everyone to start using. And so now whenever you go to the View tab, you'll see it under Change Layout. And you'll be able to click it and start creating your phone optimized reports, laying out all your visuals, and publishing it up for others to start viewing. And with this GA, there's going to be a whole blog post just about all the great features that come with phone optimized reports, so look out for that in the next day or two. Under data connectivity, we have two new features. The first is a new connector. We've added a new connector for Visual Studio Team Services, and you'll be able to find that connector under Get Data, Online Services, and under here, if you scroll down, you'll see Visual Studio Team Services, and when you connect to it, you'll be able to specify things like your account name, the project name, and optionally area paths. So make sure to try out the connector and let us know what you think of it. The next feature is an enhanced version of the SQL Server connector. We're adding a new option to that to enable support for SQL Server Failover. SQL Server Failover, it provides you protection from downtime through redundancy. And so if you guys are using that, you can, through the connector, when you connect to SQL Server, under Advanced Options, you'll see a new checkbox that says Enable SQL Server Failover Support. So whenever you check that, you'll be able to use it. And then you can, of course, hit OK and just continue on with the normal SQL Server get data flow. So prior to this update, whenever you expanded a nested list within a column in a table, it resulted in one new table row for each item within the nested list. With this new transformation, extract values, you're able to extract the values from a list into a text column with a delimiter between those values. And you'll be able to access this whenever you, just through the right-click menu of the column header in the query editor. That's it for this month's release. Please make sure to try it out and give us your feedback. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below.